Welcome to another Alpha Omega seminar series online. Today what we're going to be talking about is what you've seen before in the beginning of the clip. Get real and get out of debt. Many of us, we worry about our FICO scores, and we believe that having a great FICO score can get you good credit. In fact, having a great FICO score can get you good credit. But here's the thing. Many of us shop until we drop. In other words, we use our credit cards and we charge huge amounts of debt on our credit cards with interest at 23% and up. I mean, 15% is still bad and 9% is still bad. So having debt is really not the way you want your life to be, especially if you're getting married. Let me tell you one thing about debt. I've known many couples who have been married for less than 6 months because of credit card debt. And here's why. If you charge $8,000 on your credit card, it could end up taking you 30 years to pay it off. And a lot of people have a misconception about what assets are. Some people think that a car is an asset. Especially many of us Latino and African Americans, we believe that a car is really an asset because we will quickly get inside of a Chrysler 300, BMW, Mercedes, and at the same time put $10,000 rims on the car. Now let me tell you, in 5 to 10 years, that car is going to lose a tremendous value. I'm talking about 80% of the money that you put on the car. I mean, you probably put down $10,000 or $15,000 if you have a credit score under 650 points on a Mercedes, say for $50,000. That car is going to end up costing you, in the time that you keep it, whether it's 48 months, you're going to be keeping it and paying probably about $75,000 in interest. And especially if you got bad credit, you're talking about 15%. You go figure. The money that you put down, you just lost to $15,000. And at the same time, when you're in the car, I remember getting my first car, and my first BMW, and I was driving up, and I didn't tell anyone I was paying $650 payments after I had put $20,000 down. It was a nice BMW, though. It was a 7 Series, very nice, and those were the cars back then. But that same 7 Series that I bought sells for about $8,000 today. And I end up paying twice as much for that car because I got it financed on 22% interest. I went broke. A car is not an asset, folks. It's definitely not an asset. Now, also what I want to be talking about is defining debt for you. Now, you may think that debt is something else, but really debt is when you owe interest to someone. If you owe any type of interest, that's considered debt. So to you, my friends who are first-time home buyers, and you have your home and you're thinking, oh boy, it's an asset. It is really a debt. Let me tell you, because you owe interest on this house, and the interest that you owe is for 360 months, meaning about 30 years. Now, some of us go out and finance with, zero down. But the amount of money you want to put down on a house is 20%. But some of us in the Silicon Valley, that's impossible at prices of $700,000 for condominiums and townhomes. But then again, when you get this house, it is not an asset. It is a debt. It is a liability because you owe the lender an interest. Whatever that interest is, you might be lucky to have got 6% interest, and you might have been not so lucky, and like some of my friends out there, have a 9% or a ARM. That's an adjustable rate mortgage, and that interest could go up and it can go down. It's not fixed. So again, it's great to be a homeowner because you're not paying rent anymore, and eventually you will have some interest in your house. But who wants to wait 30 years, especially if you started late and you're 40 years old? That's only going to be an asset for the relatives that come behind you, is going to be an asset for your kids, unless you get on this new system. And the new system is paying off debt with the highest interest you have as soon as you possibly can. You could basically get out of debt from a house that you've paid $500,000 for, and say you put 20% down, around $100,000 or so, like that, and you're looking at a mortgage around $2,000. Okay. Now, if you apply something what we call a 10% margin rate, or a 10% accelerator, to paying off that debt out of your income, say your income is around $50,000, $60,000 if you're in the Silicon Valley, you could end up owning that house in 7 years. I'm not lying to you, folks. I'm saying you could end up owning that house, and when you own that house, that's when it's considered an asset. And if you have a vehicle like a Mercedes, you're paying high interest on that, the first thing you want to do is move with a friend or a relative, get back home as soon as you can, and pay that car off. Now, I'm not just talking about putting $50 more than your car payment. I'm talking about putting some serious money. I'm talking about 10% of that $60,000 you have per month, which may mean $1,000 if you have a $650 payment. So you're talking about paying $1,600 per month for that car, but you will own that car in less than maybe 2 years. And you will own your home if you do the same thing. Now, also, if you have a credit card debt and you say, hey, I have only $8,000 on this, I don't know what Andre is talking about. But let me tell you, that $8,000 in 30 years, and yes, the credit card companies would love for you to do this, to keep that credit card for 30 years, pay the nominal interest on it. And you know what the nominal interest is, because most of us do it because the average American has $8,000 in debt. Okay? You're going to end up paying them $30,000 for an $8,000 piece of whatever, a piece of juju bean thing that you bought. You're just going to be plumb out of money. I know about this. I've bought cars, I've been in debt, and yes, I've claimed bankruptcy before. And it's no fun. What I want to do is get a hold of as many African Americans and Latinos as I can, and minority, and just get you together, set you down. If you want a one-on-one with me, that's fine, but I like to bring a seminar to your area. If you're serious about getting real and getting out of debt, give me a call. Seriously.